Hola clase. Today we will be looking at forming questions. Yes, no questions and interrogative questions with que and quién and quiénes. This corresponds to Module 1, Unit 4C. Very well. So let me open a handout. You can read this informational page and also listen to some examples of the questions. I'm going to open this first handout here, forming questions, which is a little bit simplified. You should anyways study this page because it goes into a little bit more depth, but for the short video lecture, I picked something a little bit more streamlined or a little bit shorter. So let me go ahead and open that. So forming questions in Spanish. So in Spanish, just like in English, there are two types of questions. One is a yes-no question, meaning that the person asking the question gives all the information and the listener simply has to agree or disagree with it. An example of that would be, ¿practicas español todos los días? Do you practice Spanish every day? Yes or no? Sí, practico un poco todos los días. Answer no, you would include a no here, no, and another no to negate the verb. No, no practico todos los días. Again, that's in the page in Canvas, so be sure to study that page as well. This is just a streamlined version of the information. The second type of question is the interrogative question, where there's missing information and you need to provide it as a listener. For an example, that would be, what is your name? And your answer would be, my name is. Let's take a look at the, the first type of question, yes or no. So English has this helping verb, do or does. Do you practice Spanish every day? Spanish doesn't have that verb in this position, so we need to let the reader know that we're about to read a question. And so we begin with an upside down question mark. Question marks are visual markers for the reader. So a reader would know that what they're about to read is a question. In English, the reader would know because you're beginning with do, the modal verb. In Spanish, therefore, a sentence, hablas mucho, you speak a lot, is the same structure as a question. Do you speak a lot? The only difference is the intonation. In yes-no questions, the intonation rises at the end. So a statement is monotonous and a question has a change in the intonation, an inflection in the voice. So listen to these two. Hablas mucho. That's a statement. You speak a lot. Hablas mucho. Do you speak a lot? Hablas mucho. Hablas mucho. So you can hear that intonation, that inflection, since we don't hear question marks, right? Question marks are visual markers for the reader. What we hear is inflection or tone. So the spoken equivalent of these question marks is that change in intonation, that rising at the end. Hablas mucho. Hablas mucho. We can also ask yes-no questions with tag questions. So we can make a statement, tomas español, ¿no? And change the inflection with the tag question. You're taking Spanish, right? In Spanish, we use no, verdad, no es cierto, many others. Tomas español, ¿verdad? Tomas español, ¿no es cierto? Tomas español, ¿no? You're taking Spanish, right? So practice. Write out sentences with the AR verbs that you've already learned, and then say them as a statement, and then say them as a question. We had done one where a girl was looking through a telescope at the sea, and we had said, Ana mira al mar. Ana mira el mar. You could make it into a question. Ana mira el mar. Statement. Ana mira el mar. Question. Ana mira el mar. In the second type of question, which is an interrogative question, there's missing information. And there are many interrogative words in Spanish. We will learn them as we progress. In this unit, we're learning quién and qué. In the same module, in Unit 5, we will use cuándo, and in Unit 6 of this module, we will learn dónde. So we'll keep learning these as we progress through the class. ¿Quién es tu profesor de español? Who is your Spanish teacher? Es el profesor Ellis. So in interrogative questions, some information is missing. And the way this question sounds is there's a slight drop in the intonation at the end. So, ¿quién es tu profesor de español? There's a drop. With yes, no question, there was a rise. With interrogatives, there's a drop. ¿Quién es tu profesor de español? ¿Quién es tu profesor de español? Es el profesor Ellis. ¿Qué llevas en la mochila? ¿Qué llevas en la mochila? Llevo 2 cuadernos, unos lápices y un libro. Very good. Let's take a look at a couple of handouts that we will be using in class this week. So I'm back here on our Canvas page. We just looked at the first handout. I'm going to go ahead and open these other 2 handouts, one with qué and one with quién. Let me go back to this one. Okay. So here we have some pictures. You can see I've chosen this bookstore as my background today. So we want to practice both yes/no questions and interrogative questions with these pictures. I've selected some pictures that have typical student and classroom items. So to ask a yes/no question, we have to provide all the information. So let's take a look at the one that I'm using as a background. ¿Es una librería? Is it a bookstore? Or I could say, ¿son libros? Are they books? Or I could ask, ¿qué es? Es una librería. ¿Qué son? Son libros. So we're going to practice this. If you're taking this class online, you're going to practice as well. Write the questions, both yes/no questions and interrogative questions, and practice your intonation and responding. See if you can match, or if you remember from the unit on the university, all the vocabulary that you need for this exercise. Let's take a look at the last handout. This is quién and quiénes. So quién asks for a singular person. ¿Quién es? I've given you some occupations up here. These are the professions or occupations based on the classes that we learned in a previous unit. So we learned, for instance, matemáticas or periodismo. Periodismo was the class, journalism. But a journalist, a person who practices journalism, is periodista. It doesn't change for masculine or feminine. Ista ending is the same for both genders. So can you find the journalist in this picture? That's correct. It's this 4th one on the first column. This man is a journalist. He's asking some questions. There's a microphone. So I would ask, ¿quién es? ¿Quién es? And you would say, el señor es periodista. El señor es periodista. I've put some plural people on the 2nd column for you to practice the plural form. ¿Quiénes son? ¿Quiénes son? So practice that, and I'll see you in class.